So we're talking remotes here. And so earlier today, I called my dad. I go, Dad, let me give you lunch now. It's 12:35. Turn off the remote. Turn off the TV with the remote and come upstairs. So I'm upstairs. 1 minute passes by, 2 minutes. I'm like, Dad, what's taking so long? The TV won't close. I'm like, why isn't the TV closing? So he has a remote in hand. Trying to close off the TV. It wasn't a remote. It was a telephone. Yo, Dad, it's a telephone.
I mean, there are smartphones that actually operate as remotes for your TV.
Yes, this is a cordless telephone.
Like a landline phone. That's amazing.
Welcome to Calling the Audible, a new edition, new and improved, as Peeze Del Rizio joins at the
Speaking
bottom.
of remote, he's broadcasting remote right now.
Yes, exactly.
Yes, we'll go with broadcasting.
Bottom of the hour, Peeze will join us in the 7 o'clock hour. This is now the 4A4B with Simon Dagenet to my immediate left.
What's up?
Eagle to my dead center, and to my far right is GM Claretas, who will join us pretty much because he is a part of this Division 4 run. And gentlemen, so to recap the week that was.
Yes.
We're also going to have Brent Calendar later.
Hey, Brent.
Exciting.
What's up, Brent? It's not on yet, right?
No,
Okay.
but he will be.
Who's a better athlete, Brent Calendar or Brent Botkin? Who is the 4A4B right now?
You got to go
Wow.
with Calendar.
Just the fact
Oh,
that you compare
wow.
the two. I mean, that's not even close.
Oh, wow. Even though Calendar looks a little slow.
I'll tell that to Calendar later.
I agree with you, but he is the better player.
I'll
Gives
tell
you a
Brent
comparison
later.
on how slow Bodkin must be.
Yeah, he must be bad if Botkin is...
Who has better hands? Maybe a different story.
Oh.
Ooh, shots fired.
Ooh, that is shots fired. Hashtag.
What are you making assumptions?
Plenty.
It could still be.
Both terrible.
So week 7 wrapped up. Week 8 now upon us as we are
Already?
almost in the final.
Almost week 8, technically.
Yeah, almost. A couple days away. As we're almost close enough to the playoffs as we see the finish line not too far away in the horizon. Let's talk about the week that was. Some big games that happened, Simo. And I'll start with the first one. An upset. A beatdown.
Which one?
TOPSZN.
Oh, man.
My, oh my. Winning 45-24 over
That's a
the
surprise.
69ers, who are now skidding along the racetracks as we
surprise.
speak. Surprise, yes. But is it the surprise that they lost, or the surprise that they got beat
No,
by
it's the
so
score.
many
It's surprising.
by so many points in that game?
I've been a fan of TOPSZN most of the season. Actually, I think it's a good team. Jared is playing much better. The game of the week, you could see that he was playing well. But 69ers, everybody was very high on them earlier in the season.
We all
saying,
were.
Like they're gonna have a great season. They should be like 8-2, 9-1. And then this happened.
They're still on pace though.
Yeah, there's no way for 8 wins.
And I think that the surprise is more that it's a pleasant surprise that we've seen the most consistency like throughout the years. This is the most consistent we've ever seen TOPSZN, and like they've used to have at least a sort of rotating door at the quarterback position, at the receiver positions, like every position was basically different guys week in, week out, and now we're starting to see some consistency, and this is what they're capable of.
Well, they moved away from the 12, 13-man roster to a more 8-9 guys sort of thing. You
Traditional,
can see
yes.
Yeah, you can see some of their players play. The good ones play both ways, and you have less
And reliable guys
yeah, too.
But what has happened? What has happened to the Niners, though? I mean, as great as the TOPSZNs were to dismantle and literally rip the vertebrae out of the backs of the 69ers,
But I think it's more that that's the Niners that we know.
the up and down Niners, the unpredictable.
We've seen them before. We've seen that before. Like they'll be strong. They'll be good. They'll have good nights, but they'll also like have some terrible nights.
This is 1 week.
Yeah,
It's 2 weeks
2
now,
weeks
GM. Because GM against the Commission, they were given a 6-0 lead. Commission had 5 guys start off the game, and they ended up losing again by I believe 10 or 12 points in that matchup. I mean, you can lose games. It happens. It's FPF, right? But the way you're losing these football games is a little bit alarming in my books, because you can lose by 1 point, it happens, but you lose by the score like this at TOPSZNs and to Commission, 2 teams that on paper you're supposedly better.
I don't know if I agree with that, because like if you're blowing out teams all the time, and if you lose, if it's only by a point or 2, you don't really learn anything from that. Like I think that what's case for a loss like this is you don't want to replicate it, and you go back to the drawing board. And I think it's much more effective than a loss by 1 or 2, where you just sort of continue on as status quo, but those same issues can continue to be exploited later. Like this is something you go back to the drawing board with.
Oh, so would you rather lose by 25, as in this case was, or lose by 1 on the last play of the game?
In order to learn something, lose by 25.
Well, it depends what position
Yeah.
you are. Like as a quarterback, I'd rather
If-
lose
if
on the
you're
last
the
play of the
Niners.
game, right? So I play well, and they scored whatever it happens. It's just a loss. But if you're looking at like as a quarterback standpoint, if you scored 14 and your team scored 45, you had a terrible night.
Yes, Eagle.
It also depends on whether you're expecting to lose or whether the other team just
Yeah.
legitimately way better than you. That's not the case in this game. The 69ers, we thought they were good, and I guess they're not.
Other games that
Or
caught
they
you
weren't that weak.
No, the last 2 weeks that was. Other games that caught your attention, Simo.
Warhawks beat the Alpha Tees 32-19.
It was
That's also-
Jesse Dupree without Alpha T's, but still worth mentioning because
Yeah.
I think that Warhawks, this was just flawless on their part.
I mean, like the Warhawks, they're very up and down. Like they'll have good games, but they'll have games where they're not. It's not so much that they're not playing well; it's that there's miscommunications at times. You see, it's something you see a lot with Warhawks. Is Fred Met's gonna fire a slant into somebody's chest? It's gonna go up for an interception.
Mm-hmm.
It happens way too often. So either he needs to throw less hard, or the receivers needs to catch the ball. Either way, but it's something that can't happen too often, and they create so many turnovers that way that they end up always having these close games, and that's gonna bite them when you're playing good teams like the Alpha Tees, right?
But do you trust this team, though? Because you look at them
Warhawks?
last week, Warhawks that is. Last week, they play Up and Coming, and Up and Coming looked like the Oregon Ducks with Chip Kelly. They were just running up and down them, scoring points at nauseum. And here they are looking like a much better team where they beat it. Mind you, as GM said, no Jesse Dupree in the lineup, but being a relatively solid Tats team on Saturday in Brossard.
Fred Millette, 17 for 22, 118 yards, 4 TDs.
I mean, it's pretty good.
I think it comes down to
Those are Simon Dagenet numbers.
Oof, no,
No,
it's
there's
not.
no INTs.
No, there's more incompletions.
I think that what it comes down to is I trust Warhawks being a matchup dependent team.
Yes.
Is that there are certain opponents they will do very well against, and there's certain opponents who I wouldn't say they figured them out, but they play the style of football that lends to these sort of turnovers, like this sort
I
of
agree.
bounces off the chest and frustrating Fred Millette. Is that when you get him confident, he goes on a roll, but if you get under his skin quickly, the game is over.
But I find that the Alpha Tees is that kind of team that he would struggle against, and he didn't. So good for him.
Jagerbomb, big win over Keyport Lock.
Yeah.
40-20. We'll talk about
The
game of the week.
Jagerbomb.
came out today, I believe.
And look, they are playing some good football. This is the history, though, of Jagerbomb, right? The slow
Yeah.
starts out of the gate.
Well, they were
They
in,
pick it up, and
they
then
were
you
in a
go.
slow start.
Yeah, this time it wasn't a slow start.
No, there wasn't.
They had a strong start.
Yeah, they pounded on LOB. I was there.
Yeah, first hand.
Yeah.
No, that was well. First of all, Jeff Rosenblatt wasn't there for Keyport Lock. They had Jake Applebaum play instead, so it's not quite the same. It's this team. Like it looked a lot like the Jake Applebaum recipe for disaster team he had previously, but it's not exactly the same. So you got new guys. It's a new system. The receivers are used to running certain patterns, certain things with Jeff.
One of the few times where like going up a division for a quarterback like is almost to your detriment because of like the chemistry that this team relies on with Jeff Rosenblatt and how he commands.
That being said, Jad Reedy, 5 receptions, 108 yards, 2 touchdowns.
But that's normal for Jad, right? He's the safety valve for Jake.
Jad had a night. He was making some ridiculous catches. Out
Yeah,
there.
but he's Jake's go-to guy, even with Recipe for Disaster and other
for
teams
sure.
they played with. So he has that connection with him no matter what.
And then on the Jagerbomb side, Simon LaHaye, only 4 receptions, but 3 touchdowns on those for 47 yards.
Not a
Smells
good
good, man.
ratio.
How's that not a good ratio?
I'm just saying that as a figure of speech.
It's because Mo's never had that ratio.
Well, Simon has had that for interceptions, completions. 4B, Red Tiger, you saw this game.
Yes,
against
I
Game
scored that
Changers.
game yesterday.
40
Game
to 20
Changers.
victors over.
It was terrible. It was a terrible game for Red Tiger. It was a great game for Game Changers.
Surprised though, Red Tigers though, for them to flame out like they did in yesterday's game.
I'm sort of surprised more about how Game Changers managed to. I've seen a lot of Game Changers this season, and they're always slow
Well,
off.
sweaty and readies.
Yeah,
Really.
sorry. But although it's Game Changers on the website,
Yes.
they're always slow out the gate. They're struggling a little bit, and they win these low-scoring affairs with like a tight defensive play at the end.
Mm-hmm.
But this was the complete opposite. This was the Game Changers we remember from a few years ago. Anton Sakis was just doing whatever he wanted. The 40 bomb was available constantly. He went back to it over and over. The Red Tiger had no answer for what the Game Changers were doing offensively, and they scored 28 points in the first half. If you scored 28 in the first half, you should not lose the game.
No, you shouldn't. But
They didn't, but I'm just
I know.
they really I think Anthony Beauchamp-Freza had one completion for 40 yards in the first half.
They had a big fan club for that game.
Yeah, they had a lot of people, but it didn't work
The female
out.
demographics is out in full force of that team, which is great.
But it didn't work out. It was great for you. You were happy, eh?
I didn't see. I was on field too. Back
You-
towards play. A Squad, big ups to them.
Oh, yeah.
Being your team.
So we
the
talked about
Studs.
this
Yeah, we
yesterday,
spoke about it ad nauseum.
It's your team. You're very high
Well,
on
look,
Senegal,
it's not Peeze's team. Peeze hates his team.
but
And
you
they hate
loved
him.
them.
Oh, well, look, I don't love him.
Yes,
Why-
you do.
How are either of you guys in contention for ownership of a team? Like,
Well, look, yeah,
Mokan's in love with his team.
we play a game of Risk,
okay,
and I've claimed. Well, I suppose I've claimed the Studs as my team.
Okay, so what happened?
Ukraine
was,
is not weak.
Okay, so what happened was the real story here.
Seinfeld
Is
reference for those
a
who
few
don't
weeks
know.
back, we were talking about the best quarterbacks in the division, and we said Sam Collins not there yet, but he's a good tackle quarterback. But in flag, it's a different story. So after saying that, a few days later, he sends us a message and says, "Well,
Sends you a message,
yes,
not me.
Sends me a message. He's saying, "I'll prove you guys wrong. Like I'm better than you say I am." Okay, cool, fine.
So he sent you an actual message.
Yeah.
He didn't send you a message. Get it?
Yes. Okay, cool. So,
weak.
so I think the game. Yes, it was pretty bad. So I
Eagles
tried
trying to
ignore it.
seek approval from everybody after GM included, and GM was like, "Who the hell are you talking about, man?"
So after the game on Wednesday, they started we're playing at Adebayo. So Mokan was scorekeeping the game, and I told Mokan like Tuesday night. So as soon as Sam Collins walks in, Mo turns around, is like scared, straight up scared. He's like, "Yo, I didn't talk trash about him. I don't know what you're talking about. He's really
Oh,
good."
boy.
So Sam walks by. He's like, "Yeah, Sam's the best quarterback in the division. Yeah, I love this
oh
team."
boy, I was using
Straight
a
up.
wrestling angle here.
Yeah, okay, Mokan.
Of course, they didn't talk trash about you. You are the man. Keep on walking there, Vanny Cup winning
You're
quarterback.
the heel right now.
Exactly, I'm the heel, and he
Yeah.
is the Gorilla Monsoon. For
It
those
was
who don't know who he
amazing.
is.
So ever since,
Mm-hmm.
Mokan's been the fan of the side.
Side note: quarterback of the division for 4B, best quarterback of the division,
That's a good question.
Samuel Bédard.
Really?
Yeah, I score kept Martin and Le Flag this week.
Yeah.
He has some great mechanics and can really sling it like on a rope.
Yeah, that the whole team's really good, but I wouldn't say the best quarterback in the division.
So who's the best quarterback in this division? Then
Who did I have? I did this research before.
I know. I mean,
Like, it
Isn't
doesn't have
it
to be numbers wise.
Isn't it in the
is what I'm
script,
saying.
Mokan?
no.
Oh, yes. It's Rocco from Norfolk and Chance, Rocco Cristiano. He's playing really well this season, man. Like, it's impressive.
All right, boys. Dive into the topics du jour here as we are now.
Topic Joe. Okay.
As we are now entering the next 3 games or 4 games, depending who it is, depending who had the bye week in weeks prior. Let's talk about the commission. This is a team in 4A that we were all like, oof, on the fence. Were they going to
Well,
be
they
good?
didn't
Were
have
they
a
going to
quarterback.
regress? No, they didn't have a quarterback, but then they found one, right? Chris Olsen, an old record that they dusted off the shelf.
He was sort of brought in last minute, from my understanding. Chris told me-
Recommendation it was.
Yeah,
from what I was
Chris
told.
told me after the game, after his first game, says he was asking to come and play. Nobody told him he was going to play quarterback before the game, like 15 minutes before. He's like, "Oh, so you're playing quarterback today?" He's like, "Oh, okay, right."
But do you trust him though?
As a quarterback, yes, he has a good team around him.
But
The
do you
key-
trust him in the big games though?
I don't see why not. Like, he's been playing well so far. Chris is the kind of quarterback that when he gets hot, he's playing really well. So he's on a good streak, and it should continue. But the other way is true. If he hits like a cold patch, he struggles to find his rhythm again, and you could have a few bad weeks back to back.
Well, like he's at 66% passing,
It's pretty good.
12 TDs, 4 INTs.
That's okay.
So far to date, if you were to project it over over a 10-game span, he would probably be somewhere in the high 30s, low 40s for touchdowns. Somewhere again around the 10 to 12 INT range, and the yards per game actually is pretty impressive. In 3 games, he has almost 500 yards passing in 3 games.
It's not bad.
So I mean, you can project that into what, like 180, 170,
Yeah.
180, whatever it is, right? But the thing is, though, can he continue this seam of victories and success? Because look, against Niners, where I thought it really turned for them, where they were down 6-0, and it looked like it was going to unravel, and they would lose by 45 million points. They ended up winning by 12 points. Every game that they played, and even to an extent, the commission will say there's a little bit of luck on their side. Mutation, Niners included, that they had to come from behind to win those football games. But the question is, with all this talent you talk about, Simon, with the AJ Gomes, the Eddie Lees, the Don Beneventos, should they not be destroying or at least outclassing opponents with that?
Well,
dearth of talent they
Well,
have.
let's not forget, you just have a new quarterback. It's a new system because the quarterback sort of brings his own
Yeah,
system
but he
in,
knows
right?
Eddie Lee. He knows Don
Yes, but
Benvento.
They haven't played, like Chris Olsen hasn't played in a year, so he hasn't played quarterback since last winter. Some of these receivers are getting used to different systems. There's more than 3 guys on the team too. Like it's not just a 2-man team. So you're trying to learn, build chemistry with these new receivers, these new guys as you're playing and trying to win games. So it's not always easy, but he's 3-0 now. Am I correct? Like he hasn't lost yet.
He has not lost yet. They were 1-2 when he first came on board.
You
and
got
now
a bit
they're
lucky. I
4-2.
agree with you that the Niners game, the start they got like. But at the end of the day, that's what it is. That's what FPF is. You win some, you lose some, and they got lucky at the right time. Their record's not 4-2. It's pretty good for them.
Well,
and from this point on, we're not talking about the commission maybe not making the playoffs anymore.
Well, now they're the 2 seed in their division,
There you go.
right? So they're in control of where they can finish. I mean, like they're a game off from the Warhawks. We'll see if they will jump them at all. But you look at this team. Who's more important, though? Is it AJ Gomez or is it Chris Olsen to their success?
I have to say Chris, just because they couldn't do much before Chris, and now they're winning.
They were slightly unsuccessful before. They made a change, and now they're successful. I think that
The one piece that changed was
no
Chris.
disrespect, like AJ Gomes is a phenomenal 2-way athlete, but at this point you can't not say Chris.
Yep.
But if you take away AJ from that lineup, though, who's going to be that explosive
The
guy?
person
right?
who touches the ball every play.
But if you take Chris away, they lose.
But who? Yeah. But hold on.
Yeah,
But,
AJ's been explosive, but it doesn't always result.
but
in a
are
win.
you going to trust A. Lee over AJ Gomez to be your guy?
What's your point? They weren't winning without Chris. Now they are with Chris, and AJ has been there the whole time. So by that logic, it's a simple solution that Chris is the reason why they're winning.
I think that also you have AJ playing receiver and being that number 1 guy that Chris can go to as well.
Yes.
So is that like they will be key to each other's success.
You would hope so.
But yes.
You would hope so.
It's-
Are they a penthouse villa contender, or are they more of an economy hotel contender?
what does it mean? I don't get it.
Penthouse.
Are they
the
really
top,
good or kind of good
Yeah.
in Mo language?
Yeah.
That's a weird way to put it. So I'll
Are
go.
they a villa team?
Just answer with really good or kind of good.
Are you in the market for property, Mo?
Aren't we all?
No, we're not. I'll go with kind of good. I feel like if they're not a top seed favorites in my book.
So okay, they're in the 2 hole right now. Will they finish in second place?
Yeah, I could see them finishing like the 3rd seed. And no, but like if
I
you-
said second place, not
yes.
third place.
No, they're
Yeah,
in
but they're in a
second.
3-way tie for second place.
I know,
right
but they
now.
have the tiebreaker edge right now,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
So,
but in one of the conferences.
yeah,
So they could be 3rd in their conference.
they're in second place right now in Conference A.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not divided into 2 again. In,
Okay,
in
sorry.
4A.
So
Yeah.
again, they could lose a few games moving up and finish 3rd. So they're not locked in a second forever, but they won't be the number 1 seed. They also won't be the bottom seed. I feel like they're a strong middle of the back team that could upset a few games if they go their way. They're not a powerhouse.
GM, yes or no? What do you see this team? Are they a legitimate top 2 team in Conference A, or are they more of a middle of the pack team? When GM does that,
top 2.
when GM does that, he's really oof. You know what I think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It could go either way. Like it does not surprise, especially considering the 69ers stumbles that we've talked about. Montagnard up and coming, but they have a place there for sure.
Speaking of places, Mountain Lions and Jagerbomb, they're both doing very well this year. They're both 5-1.
Yeah.
We haven't spoken much about these teams this year, but have we given them their due respect?
What do you mean?
At 5-1, we haven't spoken about this team, but
Well,
do we acknowledge them?
Is
as
that
being
maybe what they
legitimate?
want though? Like there's a lot of teams that rather not have the spotlight on them because they know that we're doing well so far. We don't need you guys to start talking about it, and then we start losing pressure, whatnot.
This is the perfect style of team, though, to sort of go under the radar as well as that.
Yes.
Like, it's a new team name, it's a new team dynamic,
Mountain
but it's
Lions,
still
yes.
it's still a bunch of guys like the Mountain Lions, like Adam Rockman, AJ Rashkevan, Andrew Lambert. Like these are names. Like first of all, they play together in the same core, but they're also names that we're used to hearing.
Kevin
as, like,
Smuda.
Kevin Smoot, exactly,
Yeah.
as top players in Div 4 and Div 3. So it's
Yeah.
a new system and it's easy to go under the radar, but it makes sense that a team like this would be this good.
Okay, so who's had the better body of work then for these 2 5-1 teams in your mind here, gentlemen?
I'd have to say Mountain Lions just because their point against is very strong at 117. I like what Jagerbomb has been doing, but their schedule has been easier than the Mountain Lions. So they're 5-1, which is good. beat the teams that were in front of him, so we can't knock on them for having an easy schedule. But comparing who each two team has played, Mountain Lions' record is more impressive.
I think that Jagerbomb with a different schedule will still go 5-1.
Yeah.
You mean
Okay.
like you're talking about like
I
a
see
tougher
that.
schedule?
Yeah, give them a tougher schedule, and I still think they go 5-1 at this point in the season.
Because so far they Mountain Lions have beaten the Jaguars, a playoff bound team. BD Bandits
Are on the up and coming.
yeah, LOB unfortunately GM
Yeah,
is
it's going to be a victory
That's a
to
free win.
not
Yeah.
finish 0-10.
the Tide is a lower bottom tier team.
Tides could be difficult team to beat.
Yeah, they lost to the Backyard Boys, no shame in them, and they beat the Stits, which is a complete joke of an
Yeah.
organization. But you look at Jagerbomb,
They're
and
the worst.
well, look, it is what it is with these guys. They have a roster of 85 million guys. They can't get more than one win. Jagerbomb, they beat LOB. Sorry, GM. That's a common denominator. Le Montagnard, which is a solid playoff team, perhaps. BD Bandits again. They lost to the Jaguars, which could be the difference, right, with the whole common denominator. Shumi TDs they beat by 9, and they hammered Keyport Lock without Jeff Rosenblatt. So maybe there's a little bit of a hole or two in their body of work of
Well,
victories over the
'cause
quality of players they played
Because
against.
knowing these teams, looking at the schedule, you're like, oh, this is tough schedule. But if you actually put up like the records together, Show Me TDs have not been playing well. Like you expect them to be like a strong contender in Division 4, and they're simply not.
Right.
So looking at the schedule, I'd say so far Jagerbomb had an easier one. But again, I agree. I could see what Jim is saying, that they would be 5-1 regardless. It's a good record. We'll see what they do in 4 or 5 weeks.
So they don't play each other in the regular season. If they had a one-off game right now, who wins? Jagerbomb or Mountain Lions, gentlemen?
I'd say Mountain Lions. I
Yeah.
like their defense.
Against whom?
One-off. The Lions don't play Jagerbomb during the regular season. If they had a one-off game this Sunday in Lachine, who wins this weekend?
Jagerbomb.
Wow. We'll split this. Eagle, who wins, Jagerbomb or the Mountain Lions?
I can't go against Jagerbomb. In those clutch games, they always come up.
I think that Simone buys enough time with his feet, like consistently on the plays to find the holes in the defense. That's what I think it comes down to. I don't think Mountain Lions have the rusher to contain Simone Deschain.
Even with a guy like Kevin Smuda, though? Can
Rushing
he-
him?
No, but I'm saying
No,
that this
AJ
being- No, but I'm saying
Yeah,
that as a
AJ
player,
Ashkenazi.
right? Is he not problems for a Jagerbomb defense, or do they have the bodies to match up with a Smuda? Because that's been the go-to guy in this offense.
I don't think that
just
they
a
need.
ton.
They don't excel at playing man. They excel at playing discipline zone.
Yes.
So I think that Jagerbomb defensively game plan zone coverage around Kevin and maybe have someone shadow him rather
Right.
than going straight man to man.
Right.
I
Quick-
think
sorry,
they-
go ahead, Simone.
sorry, Jagerbomb has been in this league long enough to know that when you see a guy like Kevin Smuda lining up, they might not they don't have the guy to shadow him the whole game.
Yeah.
So it's no point in doing it, right? Like they know they won't work, so they'll do something else. On the flip side, I find that Mountain Lions has the right personnel to stop Jagerbomb if they decide to move guys around and make it work. It's just a matter of will they do it or not.
Well, Jagerbomb, one of the top scoring offenses, perhaps against one of the best defenses, the Mountain Lions. Maybe it is a matchup later on in the...
Should be good. It should be a good game if it happens.
It's a good chance, maybe. We'll see. Speaking of good chance happening now, we'll ask him next. Who was the better Brent? Is it Brent Callender or Brent Bakken? Brent Callender will join us now. We'll talk about foray with him here on Calling the Audible with GM Eagle,
Hi.
Simon, who's heading to Florida, and yours truly, Mocon. Stay tuned.
Today's guests on the Sportira guest line are brought to you by Sportira, the official suppliers of FPF uniforms and jerseys, as well as the home to the Sportira cage. Are you not getting your stats because your jersey is so beat up that the scorekeeper can't read your number? Don't be that guy on the Flag Plus football wall. We all know who you are. And get yourself or your team a fresh new look today by emailing info@sportira.com for quotes and details.
Let's go. Welcome back here. It is Calling the Audible. Brent Callender now joining us. Brent, good evening to you, sir.
Hey, Brent.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Hey, what's up,
All
guys?
right. Hey, Brent. Brent, let me ask you a question. Who's the better Brent, you or Brent Bodkin?
That was not the question.
No, that wasn't the
ask
question.
him the other question, Mokan.
Which is,
Okay.
who has better hands?
No. Who's the fastest?
Who's the fastest, you or Brent Bodkin?
Well, I think maybe because Brent Bodkin's got like that cat-like quickness, so maybe in a 40-yard dash he might take me. But I think in 100 yards, I got him.
What about 120 yards?
Oh, I got him. I think he would admit that too. And
What about
120, I got
85
him.
yards?
Ooh, okay. Maybe 65 is his best chance at beating me, but I think I still take him. Anything over 40.
GM's disgusted by your
I'm not
reaction.
disgusted. This is just like a ridiculous line of questioning. You're trying to find the threshold where Brent no longer thinks
Yeah.
he's faster than Brent.
Yeah, exactly.
Brent, which one of your jerseys is cleaner between you and Bodkin?
Oh, well, you know, Bodkin, like, we both get lined up at the same barber, and I think he's a pretty clean-cut guy, so I'm going to have to say he's got the cleaner jersey. But I do wash my jersey before every game.
Supposedly.
Just so the league
Along with
knows.
washing yourself.
Supposedly, yeah. A 2 for 1.
Yeah,
eh?
yes, Alex, because I'm washed. That was a great segue. Not.
So you wash your jersey before the games and not after?
Well, and after, Simo.
So you wash it twice the same week?
Okay, we'll relax on your washing, okay?
No, Simo, I mean, like, I wash it after the game so it's clean for next week, and then after the game I wash it so it's ready for the next week.
Okay, all right. Here, Brent, we have a question for you. Playoffs are not far away for 4A.
Oh, boy. Yes, they are. Go ahead.
You look at Conference A. If I were to ask you right now, if you look at the bottom half of the division, in the 5th spot, up and coming, Alpha T's in the 6th, TOPSZN in the 7th, Mutation in the 8th, Brocation in the 9th. So you have, I believe, 6 teams now, pardon me, in that position right now. If you were to say right now the first 2 teams in and the last 2 teams out, who would they be?
Okay, the first 2 teams in.
So
I'm
you
going to
have
say...
Up and Coming, Tats, TOPSZN, Mutation, and Brocation.
Okay, I'm going to say Up and Coming and Brocation get in.
And who's the last 2 out?
Last 2 out, I'm going to have to say TOPSZN and Mutation. But TOPSZN's kind of like floating. They're like in that like
Even with
gray
that big win
area.
over the Niners, though. Even them crushing the Niners by
Yeah.
like 85 gajillion points.
Yeah, no, that's why I just said, Mo, that they are in that gray area. If TOPSZN come out and do what they do, then they're going to get into the playoffs. But they're not, like, that team is so up and down. Like, Jekyll and Hyde, you never know from week to week what you're going to get. Like you were saying just now, they smashed the 49ers, which was a shock to everybody. But then they'll go out and have weeks and play, like, below standard football, and you're just like, what's going on here? And Andel's a good leader. I know he's got the team usually ready to play. Jared Taylor and all those guys. But I don't know. I don't want to say for sure they get in, but I could see them getting in.
All right, no, go ahead. Mo.
All right, same thing for Conference B. We look at the same thing here. We have Jaguars in 6th, Tide in 7th, Backyard Bullies in 8th.
Woo!
Okay,
Say that
calm
again,
down.
the Tide. The Tide's
Friends in
back.
low places in 9th. So
Yep.
essentially what amounts to being 4 teams fighting for 2 playoff spots. The first 2 in, the last 2 out. Who are they going to be? Who will it be? Will it be you guys, the Jags, Bullies, low places? Who's going to be in? Who's going to be out?
Okay, the teams in will be the Tide, of course.
Shocker.
Led by yours truly.
Shocker. Unbelievable.
That's right. And the Backyard Bullies, because there's something about them. I know last week I said that I would dump them, but I got some love for them again. So I think I'm gonna go back to the
So
ex-girlfriend.
you're that kind
and-
of guy.
Wow, Simo, no, I'm not
You
that
are
kind of
that.
guy.
I
I'm
think
just
you are.
saying, like, no, I'm just saying in this particular situation, it seems appropriate to go back to the ex, because the Backyard Bullies, they've been there before. Even though it's not, like we had that whole discussion, it's not rich throwing, I still think this team as a core will put it all together. And if we look at their remaining opponents, like, I think they could get Jagerbomb. BD Bandits is a toss-up. LOB they can get. And Keyport Lock will be the tough one. But I see them kind of doing enough to get the win. Like, Vinny will play well. I'm sure Rich will have the guys ready to go, and they'll do a good job.
That's a very tough
So then the
schedule.
It is a tough schedule,
Take
but
with the LOB
I
win-loss record. It's a very tough schedule.
Well, they're compared to...
think they can go 2-2, and that would get them into the playoffs.
That's fair.
And even 3-1. But so I would say the teams that are going to be out are friends in low places. I just don't think
And
they.
the Jaguars, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. But I would
They
say
might be the 8th seed, you would think.
Yeah, they
Jaguars.
might be the 8th seed, and that's a tough matchup against Mountain Lions. I don't know how they do it in Mountain Lions, but they just keep winning.
What do you mean you don't know how they're doing?
They're 5-1.
No, I said I don't know how they do it, Simo. I said I don't know how they do it, Simo.
I mean, like, it's basically Coyotes with a different quarterback.
Yeah, no, it's not Coyotes. Coyotes is a traditional step back and throw the ball
Well, it's
Sammy
a
Feeder
different
style,
quarterback,
but
right? But it's
it's
the
a
same
different
core.
quarterback. But like, it's a total different gameplay style. Like, this guy is like Joey Taylor, more athletic, shorter,
So
and
Vinny
can
Guarano?
just throw. Yeah, Vinny Galano essentially, and then just throw the ball super deep, high up to Kevin Smuda.
Jeremy Rosenberg, you're referring to.
No, it's not Jeremy Rosenberg.
For Mountain Lions?
that's the quarterback.
Oh, the quarterback. Oh, I was talking about the receiver. Yeah, but Jeremy Rosenberg. He's quite a talent.
Hold on, what are you doing in the
But,
background
yeah,
right
they-
now?
Me?
Yeah, what are you doing? What are you doing right now? What's going on there?
I'm actually preparing some jerk
Yeah,
chicken.
I know you are. I can sense that.
No, you can't.
I can.
Mo, you've never even had jerk chicken in your life. You probably you go and buy that jerk seasoning at
I can
IGA.
sense that you're having it.
that's what-
No, right now I can sense it, Calendar. You're eating chicken on air with us, aren't you? That's
No, I'm not.
disrespectful
I'm
for us. 'cause
preparing chicken for tomorrow's workday.
Oh, okay.
Solid.
Yeah.
Thank you, Simo. Simo, I'll make
A
you
real
some.
Renaissance man
Awesome.
over here.
Real
I'll
fans, bring us chicken.
Yes,
From
exactly.
Buffalo.
No, I will never bring you chicken because you keep telling me I'm washed. So I wouldn't want you to taste any of this washed chicken, Eagle.
Okay, so
Is Peeze
I
in
hope
the
you
house
watched it
tonight?
before
no,
you
yeah,
go
it
to
won't be here yet. So hold on. If I gave you two teams right now, Warhawks. Oh, sorry, my apologies. If I gave you the two records of 5-1 for Mountain Lions and Jagerbombs without revealing who they were, would you look at the body record and say the Lions are the better team than the Jagerbombs, or vice versa?
Oh, I
They're
don't
both
know.
5-1. You see the points, 4 points against. You see the win losses, right? Who they've defeated and lost to. Would you say, well, this team is better than this team?
I'm gonna say that Mountain Lion. Oh no, you know what? I'm gonna say Jagerbomb's the better team because I do believe they've been together longer than the
Wow.
Coyotes.
Okay.
So you've gone in line with
I can't
Eagle
go for the
and-
Mountain Lions because they beat my team
we crushed
and
the team.
yeah, they did crush us.
So
and
basically, if he beats you, you hate him. That's what you're
no,
saying.
I don't hate him. I just dislike their team. Like it's not something I'm not gonna cheer for the Mountain Lions. But no, Jagerbomb, I would say it's more impressive to be honest because I just feel that the Mountain Lions. It's a former Div 3 team with this quarterback who's doing really well to everyone's surprise. But Jagerbomb, it's kind of like, wow, this team is. I don't think you guys even predicted this at the beginning of the year, did you?
No, we
That
didn't.
they would be 5.
No.
Exactly. So I mean, you got to give them their credit. They're doing something special here, and they're the kind of team that just thrives off chemistry. I don't think Jagerbomb has any superb like standout players. They do have a couple really good guys, but they play so well together, better than any one of the other Division 4A teams. And like I remember at the beginning of the year, you guys were talking about, oh, their Division 4A is a faceless division. I think Jagerbomb kind of wears the face of this division.
Yeah, a team of faceless superstars.
Yeah.
They're not a superstar. There's no Dean Demetrius
No.
on this team.
No, there's none.
No. Get you
I mean,
we'll get you out on this year, Brent.
Okay.
Niners are on a 2-game losing streak. Ugly losses here. Their final record will be what? They're 4-2 right now.
I see them finishing 7-3, but I would take
Not bad.
7-3, and I would take the over on that.
Fair enough.
That's not bad.
All right, Brent. So Sunday we'll have the 68-yard race between you and Botkin.
I don't know if I could do that because I have a game Sunday, and if I were to run 68 yards before my game, I could pull 2 hamstrings and
Ooh,
Collapse
Yeah, two.
lung
that sounds
as
like the
well.
worst.
yeah, it could be bad.
Calendar.
But I
thank you
could,
very
Mo.
much.
I for sure could beat you in a 40-yard dash, and we need to get FPF betting on this.
I'm down.
Thank you.
Calendar. We'll
Simo.
see you later. And go
All
make
right,
your
take
jerk
care,
chicken.
Take care, fellas.
Yeah.
Ciao.
He's
Ciao.
probably making like white man jerk chicken.
Mo, you buy your jerk
He's
at
still out
IGA.
there. Get him off there. Anyway, Frank Calendar. 4B.
That's
Yes.
a serious accusation insulting someone's chicken, though, man.
For real.
Frank Calendar. Please.
No, but that's an act of war.
Whatever. Bring it on, Brent. I'm here. 4B A squad.
Yes.
Now should they be taken seriously? I know we're poking fun at them
Okay. First of all, why now?
because you look at the record now. They're proving people wrong. Now we thought it was a
Okay,
it was a
so have you
fake.
forgotten entirely about Winter 2017?
Yeah, but at that point,
Same division. They finished 8-2. They had 299 points for.
But
What more do you want
What
from
was the
them?
end result of their season?
Okay, but now you want to take them seriously
How
because
early?
they're 5-1.
Yeah, but how
They were
how,
6-0 last season.
But how early did they get bounced in the playoffs?
Okay.
Early.
No, second round. I think. Yeah.
Early.
Okay. So why now? Same situation as last season. They were 6-0, finished 8-2, which is pretty good, and then they get bounced. Now you want to take them seriously now that they're 5-1, which is basically the mirror of what they were last
They
season.
beat the Studs, right?
Okay.
Supposed
Your
good
boys.
team, my boys, beat POP earlier in the year in week 2.
Yes, you go.
They have a relatively easy schedule up until week 9 when they play Martin and La Flag week 9, and then you get LV and Vikings to finish off the year. They could be 9-1.
Okay.
They don't lose games because they don't play well. They lose games because they don't manage the game properly. In the playoffs,
I
exactly
agree.
that. They're going to try and put up a significant number of points, and the other team's going to slow the game down, and it's going to turn into a couple drives. Jakub makes one mistake as quarterback.
But has he turned the corner as a quarterback?
No,
though?
he hasn't.
No.
But he still puts up good numbers.
But hold on here. But, gentlemen, to defend Jakub, right? Up until last week, he had no INTs. He threw 2 last week in a victory. But in your mind right now, isn't that better management of the football with what he's done?
So
It's not his
just before
style,
we
though.
continue, did we transition to you making Simon's case for him?
Oh, whatever. We move away from Simon's points.
That's exactly what happened, but
Yeah.
Mokan doesn't realize these things.
Mokan forgot the question he asked and slowly
So-
proved himself wrong.
So the same thing that happened last season. Jakub doesn't throw many interceptions.
But no one's going to catch for the
But-
division, though.
There's a lot of turnover on downs where it's not necessarily interceptions. Like Eagle was saying, he poorly manages the clock. There's like, let's say 4 or 5 minutes left in the game. They're up by less than a score. Let's say 5 points. He goes deep on the first play. You see something open, gets an incomplete, tries to run, and then he's stuck at a 4th and short. And what happens is he gives the ball back with too much time to the other team, and they end up losing the game because instead of taking the short patterns and killing time, he went for the big play and didn't get it.
Okay, so I asked you this question, Simone and GM, if you chime in on this. You have NIC at 5-1,
Yes.
Martin Le Flag at 5-1,
Yes.
and you have A Squad at 5-1. Where
Yes.
do you rank them in the top 3?
In that specific order.
Yeah, in that order. Who do you have?
In that order.
In that order. So they're the 3rd best team.
Yes.
GM, are they the 3rd best
Yeah,
team?
that sounds about right.
So in that case, though, race for first place, who are you picking to win the West Division in Conference A? Are you picking NSC or are you picking Martin and Le Flag?
Nah,
to win?
I can't pick against Norfolk and Chance right now. They're playing way too good football. I like Martin and Flag. I've been a big fan of the team
But
since
GM's a big
week
fan.
1.
He's
Yeah.
impressed by them.
But Norfolk and Chance, just like from top to bottom, quarterback, receivers, rusher, defense,
Solid
defense, like that team is solid from top to bottom. So it makes sense that Simo and I would put them ahead. But like this top 3, for example, I would say is better than the top 3 of Conference B.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah,
so-
we're splitting hairs, but it's close. But
But in the matchup of the quarterback play, Rocco Cristiano, who's been the savior of this NIC franchise from last spring, and you
Yep.
got, as you mentioned before, Samir Bedal, who's had a great game, as GM saw in Broadstar on Saturday. In a 1-game matchup, who are you picking to win that battle between these two teams? And they'll play each other week 10.
So are we talking about just the quarterbacks, or are we talking about these two teams?
The quarterbacks, who can win them that game in a head-to-head?
I think that Norfolk and Chance's defense steps up against Bedal. I don't think that he can win it against that D, but just having seen both quarterbacks play, I think Bedal is the better quarterback, but Rocco Cristiano has more weapons surrounding him.
What do you think, Simo?
well, I've put up the stats between the two for so far this season. So Rocco has 1 less game than Samir Bedal.
Yeah.
He's behind by 150 yards, so which is about 1 game, right?
Mm-hmm.
He has 27 passing touchdowns and 2 picks. Samir Bedal has 25 passing touchdowns but 10 picks. Based
How
on
many
that,
passing attempts for Bedar?
I only have percentages, and he's 5%
You had
less.
one job. You had one job to do. Simo.
No, I did not. I
There's
have more
many
than one
jobs to do.
job. Yes.
I'm
But
sorry.
based on that, the way 2 interceptions in 5 games is pretty good. And based on that, I'll go with
One
Rocco.
INT for every 12 attempts by Bedar.
It's not bad.
It's not too bad.
But
Could be
then,
better.
the point is, he has 2 interceptions. The other one has 10. I'll go with the 2. So I'm going with Rocco, who only has 2 interceptions so far.
They will play each other week 10. We'll talk
That
more
should be a
about
good
that.
game.
That could very well be, in all intents and purposes, for the 1 seed, which should be in all
It should be,
likelihood,
yes.
unless the A Squad run the table and somehow one of these teams flub up and they end up playing for.
Yeah,
2 or
unless they
3
both
spots.
kind of fizzle out, then. But I don't think it's going to happen.
You look at Blue Chips game changers, 2 of the better defenses in 4B right
Yep.
now. They too have a Week 10 showdown. So this could be a huge Week 10 for 4B of some of the teams who could be the 1, 2, maybe, or the wildcard spot at that point here. But who has a better defense in your mind? Is it Blue Chips or is it Ready and Sweaty, a.k.a. Game Changers?
I'm gonna go with Blue Chips just because the fact that Game Changers is too roster dependent. If they have all their guys together, they have the best defense, but it only happened once or twice this season so far. They've been kind of struggling to have guys every week, every game. So for that account, I know Blue Chips is gonna be. Everybody's gonna be there every week, and they're gonna be ready to play every week. So I'll put my money on Blue Chips.
It's funny that both of these teams have had sort of like up and down careers as franchises in FPF. Like they've both done really well and they've both done really poorly. And I feel like Blue Chips at this stage have learned more from it and are the
Have
better
they,
team as a
though?
result.
What do
Like
you-
you
what
look
do
at
you mean?
last summer.
What was it last summer? Oh, you mean
When they played in B?
Yeah, I mean they played me
It was
2 years ago. 2 years
Yeah.
ago, 2
Yeah.
seasons ago, they got wrecked. They
Wow.
Yeah, they took it as a learning experience.
Well, they didn't belong there to begin
Then
with.
last summer they kind of unraveled. They sort of lost their sense of direction in the open seas and trying to.
But they had too many guys. They were playing with 10, 11, maybe 12 guys every week, and they're trying to put everybody in. It
And
doesn't work
C
that way.
is a deeper division
Yes.
than 4B.
Oh, definitely.
Like last winter they were successful in 4B.
Yeah.
This winter they're successful in 4B.
right.
C is a bit of a stretch, but again, it's a learning experience. Like they came out of that stronger as a
Mm-hmm.
team, as we're seeing
Yep.
here.
So you look at Game Changers, right? Their last 4 games, Mean Machine, tough team. Sphinx playing better football. I watched them play a couple weeks ago in St. Leo.
They lost this week.
Yeah, that's right. I watched them play a couple weeks
Big
ago,
game.
not last week, right? True Squad, and then they got Blue Chips. So they got 4 tough games. They're 4-1-1. Any chance that they can catch or even surpass Blue Chips at
I don't
this
think
point
so.
in the year?
I think their schedule is too tough. I think they're going to lose a few of these games. I think Truth Squad is a much better team than people give them credit for, and they'll have like a good record. I've predicted them as 6-3-1 for Game Changers, which is good. They'll be in the playoffs, no worries. But
yeah,
give it
basically
solid
they're going to
3.
lose to Truth Squad and Blue Chips.
yes,
That's what it comes down to.
essentially.
Fair enough. Not much time here. First 2 in, last 2 out here. Conference A, Team Ethnic, LV in the 7 and 8 hole. 39-cent Wings and the Vikings in the 9 and 10 hole. First 2 in, last 2 out. Is that staying the same with these 2 teams in the playoffs right now, in Ethnic and LV?
I guess so. I think Team Ethnic has a much easier schedule for the last 4 games than LV or Vikings. So I'm inclined to say that Team Ethnic's going to stay in just because they're scheduled. They're going to win a few games compared to LV, who's playing basically all the juggernaut teams.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to have to figure it out. But I don't think there's going to be much change.
I think a status quo of Vikings and Wings.
Excellent. All right. In Conference B, the Studs in the 7th hole. No name. They've played 1 more game than everyone else. They have played 7 games in the 8th hole. Small Giants and Mean Machine in the 9 and 10 hole.
Mhm.
First 2 in, last 2 out. Who are they?
Mean Machine and No Name, it's going to be one of the 2 that makes it. The other one won't because Grinders and Grabuge are not going to make it back in.
All right, GM. Any
So-
thoughts?
No, that's
Status
perfect.
quo?
Yep.
Fair enough. It is now time for...
Games of the week.
Okay. Yes, all right. It's all right. I love that enthusiasm. GM.
Well, what I did is last week I would put different inflections on
Yes,
it,
of
but
course.
we don't need that this week. So starting with 4A, Gotham Brocasian. Is this the game where Gotham turned it around?
They've been kind of
Somewhat-
turning around recently. Like they changed the quarterback. Jeffrey Lefebvre has been quarterback for 2 weeks now. The first week was not pretty, but this week was much better. They lost by a single point. So I'm gonna go with Gotham.
Someone has to wear pennies this weekend.
Yes.
Give me Gotham.
Okay. Les Montagnards and TOPSZN.
I'll go
Ooh.
top season.
Oh, this is a good game.
Well, the top
Yeah.
season are my boys. I'll go with them.
No, they're boys now. That's
They've
not what
always
Endel's
my
been telling
boys. Endel's been a little
He
bit
doesn't
hard
like
to
you.
get, but he knows what's up.
I'm gonna stick with you. I'll go with top season too.
Yeah, I go top season.
And Mutation against Siths.
Mutation, bro.
Yeah, mutation. I'll go with the upset just to piss you off.
Oh yeah, it really,
Sits
it
again.
really
Mo will be
irritates
there,
me. Yeah,
so-
exactly. I'm there first hand anyway. Real piss off. Over.
And
Yes.
moving on to 4B,
Yes.
Martin et Le Flag against Pastar Prime.
Oh,
Oh, it's a
Martin
good
Flag.
game.
I'm going with Martin.
I go POP on this.
Yeah,
one.
I spent the whole podcast talking about Martin et Le Flag, but I think POP will win this.
Yeah.
Okay.
POP. Yeah.
Interesting.
Be ready against LV.
LV.
Yeah.
Yeah. LV.
Yeah, I don't trust David Daou.
They had a bad game, by the way.
Yeah, I heard.
Awful. Carry on, GM.
And Grabouge against Les Stud.
Studs.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
So are you like the de facto Mark Cuban of this team now? Like you won't? You, like,
Oh,
Yeah,
they're
okay.
your
Let's
guys?
not put Mark Cuban in the same sentence as the Moke on here. Of what has happened this
I
past
mean,
week with their.
wouldn't you love to be Mark Cuban?
No, not right now.
Why not?
Why don't you read the news and see what's up?
Yes, I've seen the news, but it doesn't matter. The guy's a billionaire.
All right, Simo. Anyway,
I'll take heat for that money. I don't care.
So Mo, so someone compared you to someone else and you didn't like it.
not that
I
person.
just want to remind you
If
of
you
that.
compared me with Michael Jordan, maybe, or
That's-
maybe
that's
the
clever,
late
Jeff.
great Jerry Buss, I'd have been like, you know what? Yeah.
Okay, Rick, no problem.
Woo! Magic words,
Wrong,
please.
Rick. From all of us here at Calling the Audible,
Hi.
Good night, Simon Dash. Enjoy your trip to Florida.
Thank you, Mogan.